I have spent my entire career as a forensic auditor. My job is to find the tiny hidden discrepancies that people think nobody will ever notice. I deal with numbers because numbers never lie. People, on the other hand, lie every single day. My name is Julia, and I built my consulting firm from the ground up. I work 12-hour days. I manage high-stakes corporate accounts, and I am very protective of my financial security. My fiancé, Marcus, was a charming freelance designer who unfortunately had a very loose relationship with the concept of a budget. Marcus had a toxic habit of viewing my business success as a shared resource. He would often say, "Julia, we are going to be married. What is yours is mine." I always corrected him, telling him that my corporate reserves were not a personal piggy bank. But Marcus's mother, Sylvia, was the real source of the problem. Sylvia believed that since I was a wealthy career woman, I had a moral obligation to fund her extravagant lifestyle. She and Marcus's brother, Leo, were constantly whispering in Marcus's ear, telling him that I was being stingy with my wealth. The situation reached a breaking point 3 weeks ago. I was performing a routine end-of-month audit on my primary business operating account when I noticed a massive, unauthorized withdrawal. $50,000. Exactly. The transfer had been made to a high-end luxury travel agency, and it had been authorized using my secondary digital token, a token I kept in my home office safe. I didn't panic. I didn't scream. I simply pulled the transaction logs. The IP address used for the transfer was our home Wi-Fi. The recipient was a world-class Japan experience package, booked for 3 people, Marcus, Sylvia, and Leo. I sat in my office for an hour, staring at the screen. Marcus hadn't even included me in the trip he bought with my own money. He had planned a 10-day, first-class tour of Tokyo and Kyoto for his family, using the capital I had set aside for my quarterly tax payments. When Marcus came home that evening, he was whistling, looking happier than I had seen him in months. "Julia, darling," he said, trying to kiss my cheek. "I have amazing news. I decided to take a huge step for my family's happiness. I booked a trip for Mom and Leo. They have had such a hard year, and I wanted to do something special for them." I looked at him, my voice perfectly calm. "That is very generous, Marcus. Where did you get $50,000 for a luxury tour?" Marcus paused, his smile faltering for a split second. "Well, I moved some things around. I consider it an advance on our future together. I knew you wouldn't mind. You are so successful. Julia, it is just a drop in the bucket for you." I didn't argue. I didn't tell him that moving things around is legally defined as an unauthorized financial breach. Instead, I gave him a small, tight smile. "I see," I said softly. "I suppose Sylvia and Leo must be very excited." "They are thrilled," Marcus beamed. "We leave on Friday. It is going to be the experience of a lifetime for the next 4 days." I played the part of the supportive partner. I watched as Sylvia came over to our house, bragging about the first-class seats and the 5-star hotels Marcus had booked. She looked me in the eye and said, "It is about time Marcus started spending like the man of the house. You should be proud of him, Julia." I just nodded and went back to my laptop. While they were packing their silk robes and designer luggage, I was busy at work. I didn't report the fraud to the bank immediately. If I did, the bank would have frozen the funds, and the travel agency would have canceled the trip before it started. Marcus would have just made excuses, and the drama would have continued in my living room. I wanted them to be exactly where they deserved to be. On Friday, I drove Marcus to the airport. I hugged him goodbye and watched Sylvia and Leo walk toward the first-class lounge with smirks on their faces. They felt like royalty. As soon as their plane took off for the 14-hour flight to Tokyo, I went into auditor mode. First, I contacted the travel agency as the sole owner of the business account. I provided proof of the unauthorized access. under the agency's emergency cancellation policy for fraudulent corporate bookings. I was entitled to a partial refund, but more importantly, I had the power to void all upcoming reservations. I waited until I knew their plane had landed at Narita Airport. I gave them 2 hours to get through customs and take the expensive private car to their hotel in Shinjuku at midnight, Tokyo time. While they were likely checking into their $10,000 night suite, I executed my plan. I officially reported the digital token as stolen to my bank's fraud department. This triggered an immediate, global freeze on any further transactions associated with Marcus's secondary card, which was linked to my account. Then, I called the hotel in Tokyo. "Hello," I said to the concierge. "I am the primary cardholder for the reservation under Marcus Evans. I am reporting the payment method as fraudulent. Please cancel all services and room access immediately. Any further charges will be disputed." I did the same for their return flights and their private tour guides. By 2 a.m. Tokyo time, Marcus, Sylvia, and Leo were standing in the lobby of a 5-star hotel with their luggage, being told that their unlimited credit card had been declined and their reservations were voided. My phone started ringing at 4 in the morning my time. I let it ring. Then came the texts. "Julia, what is going on? The hotel kicked us out? The card isn't working. Mom is crying in the lobby. Fix this right now." I waited another hour. Then I finally sent one single text back. "I performed an audit, Marcus. It turns out I mind very much. The $50,000 has been flagged as a fraudulent transfer. Since I didn't authorize the trip, I didn't feel obligated to pay for the return flight. Good luck in Tokyo. I hear the transit system is very efficient." The fallout was spectacular. Sylvia and Leo had spent their own meager savings on designer outfits for the trip, expecting me to pay for every meal and every souvenir. They had less than $500 between them. Marcus had nothing. They were stranded in one of the most expensive cities in the world, with no hotel, no return tickets, and no access to my capital. Marcus tried to call my parents, my friends, and even my employees, begging for money. But I had already sent a brief, professional email to everyone in our circle, explaining that my business had been the victim of a major security breach, and that I was currently working with legal counsel to recover the assets. Nobody helped them. It took them 4 days to scrape together enough money for 3 economy basic tickets back home. Sylvia had to sell her precious designer handbag to a luxury second-hand shop in Ginza just to pay for a budget hostel. When Marcus finally crawled back to our house, looking exhausted and defeated, he found his bag sitting on the porch. The locks had been changed. He started screaming about how cruel I was. Sylvia stood on the sidewalk, shouting that I had abandoned family in a foreign country. I opened the second-floor window and looked down at them. "I didn't abandon you, Sylvia," I said, my voice as cold as a bank vault. "I simply performed a corporate restructuring. Marcus was an underperforming asset, and you were a toxic liability. This is just business." I filed a formal police report for the unauthorized digital access. Marcus wasn't arrested, but the pending investigation meant he would never be able to work in any financial or corporate sector again. His reputation was as empty as his bank account. I recovered $30,000 of the original $50,000. The remaining $20,000? I consider that a very fair price to pay for the absolute peace of never having to see Sylvia or Marcus ever again. Numbers never lie, and the math of this breakup was finally perfectly balanced.